Okay, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. We're so glad that you are here. And wow, this is amazing. This actually hasn't, we haven't had a problem yet. We've had problems throughout this entire week, technically at least. I don't know if you guys recall, Wisdom Wednesday. It was an absolute nightmare. Things were going crazy, even for Pat and Tandy and we had Wade speaking like a robot. I thought he was doing a bit, but that was crazy as anything I've ever heard in my life. But we're so glad that you are here. Welcome. And I just wondered if somebody could tell me if the actual. Oh, okay, it's working. Okay, cool, it's working. So everything is running without a hitch, beside my intro where I'm talking about everything running without a hitch. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the Monday Mastermind, and today we have everybody on the panel. Everybody's made it. I know that Katie and Pops have been running around the country doing things, and Jamie has been busy as well. So let's go through the panel and find out how everybody is. And just before we actually get to that, I want to remind everybody watching right now that today is a Q&A session, which means it's our version of Stump the Panel. You can actually ask us any question you want. And so if you've got a question you would like to ask us, because we've been able to generate income online, and we want to be able to give you some advice on how you can actually further that online. So think of some questions you might have, put them in the comments, and we'll get to them as soon as we get officially started with the questions. But with that being said, let's go to Pops first and find out how his week has been, preferably how his weekend has been, because I know he's had an incredible time. Pops, do you want to share something?
Oh man, it was so awesome. Fantastic. Katie and I were at the GoPro Recruiting Mastery with Eric Worre here in Las Vegas at the convention center, attended by like almost 11,000 people. It was really awesome. Tony Robbins and the Pitbull, Brandon Bouchard were all keynote speakers. And it was just on and on and on, value and fun and meeting people. And it was just so exciting. I actually had to turn my hearing aids down so I could not blow my eardrums out. It was so loud. It was really cool. And we had we got notes. I think I have probably 30 pages of notes. So I haven't gone through them yet. So if you're asking questions in the chat, I may not be able to answer right away, but we'll find it. We'll find it.
Well, that's good. I mean, and you can actually read your own notes now. Like you got no problem reading them.
I can read my own notes now. Yeah, Katie can't read them. Nobody else could ever read them, but I can. They're not quite hieroglyphic, but
you should have used them in, like, you know, in Germany should have used them when they was deciphering secret tactics.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jamie, please tell us about your wonderful day, because I believe you had things were going a bit crazy.
It was a pretty exciting weekend. A lot of things happened in the news, you know, and I had an exciting weekend myself. I was telling Dave the story before we got on, and you know, I went on my yearly hunting trip for first shotgun deer season. So Friday it was a pretty nice day. I seen one all day, you know, and Saturday morning I get up at 4:30 and it is thunder and lightning like crazy and everything, and all of a sudden around 5 o'clock it quits. So I decided, looked at the weather, I didn't see nothing, it says it's not going to rain till 8 o'clock. So I'm like, cool, I got time. So I go out, get out there about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark out, mind you, and with the time change, it's been starting to get light around 6 o'clock in the morning. But Saturday, it was just black as can be at 6 o'clock. So I'm getting ready to climb in the stand, and mind you, I'm climbing into a metal deer stand. I have a shotgun in my hand, which is made out of metal. And all of a sudden, it goes boom, and the whole sky lights up, and it starts drizzling. I'm like, oh, shit. You know, here I am, all this metal around me, and it's starting to thunder and lightning. So I found a group of oak trees that still had leaves on them because the pin oaks don't lose their leaves. And I was staying dry for a while, and it was just a drizzle. And all of a sudden, it let loose and started pouring with thunder and lightning and everything. And I probably had to walk 200 yards to get to my truck. By the time I got to my truck, I was soaking wet, and I was wringing water out of my clothes. So, and and then Sunday was a pretty nice day. I seen one buck all day. He was too far away to even shoot. And on the drive home, what I see 6 of them standing out in the field. So it was a pretty interesting weekend. And did you see all the current events that happened this weekend? We lost Mel Tillis. We lost Malcolm Young from AC/DC. We lost the devil himself, Charlie Manson. And then there was another big singer that we lost too. I don't remember who it was. But David Cassidy passed away today. That's who it was. So, it's been a pretty interesting weekend, all the current events happening and stuff like that. And my exciting weekend with, I should have told the story like a Pat Patterson. I almost got struck by lightning, and I had to run to my vehicle to get away from it.
Oh, absolutely, man. I got to say, I've never quite had that experience, but I know how frightening thunder can be, especially when it comes out of nowhere. And of course, in my case, when lightning strikes, very often my internet will just die. And that's because I've got to actually work out when the thunder's coming and then unplug the internet, because otherwise it'll just fry everything, my radius. But wow, man, so sorry about that. But I'm sure it took a couple of years of your life.
Oh, yeah. It was quite hair-raising experience.
So
that's what I told my wife. I said, I've hunted all my life, and that's the first time I've ever seen thunder and lightning during deer season.
Well, to answer Bob's question, my internet, yes, it's back to normal. It's actually working today very well. So things, I've been able to log into pages, no problem. You should see what it looks like regularly on my PC when I'm trying to log into pages. I got to wait and wait and wait. I remember I was working with Pat the other day, and I was showing him something. I was showing my screen, and he was watching me click on these pages, and it just took forever to open. And then he shared his stuff, and it was like he was just going through his hard drive. It was opening so quickly, I couldn't believe it. So I am truly envious of you who live in America and have fast internet connections. But I'm still waiting for mine to get, but it's actually working quite well today. So with that being said, we'll go over to Miss Katie on stage herself, and she can tell us about her week and her weekend in particular, because I know she's had an amazing time.
As I'm sending a selfie because Maria's little girl is crying right now, so I'm sending her funny little selfies. But I had a really great weekend. Another selfie. And that one's creepy. Well, actually, the last 2 weekends. So, am I choppy at all, or is this okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay. But anyways, so I kind of had a lazy day today, and just from the last 2 weekends being in 2 events at the same time and connecting with a lot of people and writing a lot of notes and becoming more clear. By the way, side note, between those 2 weekends, also on Wednesday, I had a coaching call and had more clarity about myself, which is amazing. So today was a lazy day, and I just wanted to show you real quick. Being that today was a lazy day, I just wanted to show you my highlight of the day. So let me just go ahead and show you right here. I do have a picture of it. It's actually right here. Oops, here we go. So there is the highlight of my day for today. Before this.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Brady Bunch time. Okay.
All right, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Katie. I know Katie's got lots to share. She's probably got too much to share. That's why she'll be taking up too much time. But I do want to say that, you know, speaking to everybody, we've got this this time that we've allocated for you to ask us some questions. But before we get to the questions, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my week and use it as a way to perhaps help you. And believe it or not, I'm not trying to convert anybody to what I've been doing, but I will say I've had a very interesting day the last 24 hours. I haven't eaten anything in the last 24 hours. I'm going on a cleanse, and please let me break this down to you. I absolutely love food. I love food to death. It is, honestly, I did not think I could actually get to where I am today, but I've been without food for 24 hours, and I've been going on this cleanse, you know, having tea and juice and you know, grapefruits and apples and just a whole bunch of cleansing green tea stuff to help cleanse my system out. And I'm not hungry at all. And I started this cleanse because I saw something 2 days ago. I was doing some research on how to actually go through a cleanse, and I found this really interesting video. And I did a bit of research on it, and I found out it was quite legit. And this thing was sitting at the back of my mind thinking, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And I've got to remind myself of this. So what I did is I purposely made a decision to actually go ahead and do this. And I would think about this purposely on a regular basis. So when I was finished watching the video and I went to go and shower, I would think about the same thing. When I went and I went out for a walk, I would think about the same thing. And it slowly, as I was thinking about this and talking about this to myself, I actually had it embedded in my subconscious. I do believe that that's what happened, because I haven't been able to think about anything else. And I remember starting this yesterday, and when I went on it, it was something that I just constantly was thinking about it, because every hour or two I had to drink something or have some juice or carrot juice every single 2 hours. So I mapped it out, I wrote out a schedule, and I went according to this formula. And it's been 24 hours now, and I've lost 8 pounds in 2 days. It's incredible. It's just incredible. I can't believe how much water weight I've lost in that time. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because in the same way that we approach business, you want to do something and you want to make a difference in your life. This is something that's got to seep into your subconscious. It's something that you've got to make a decision and tell yourself, you know, this is something I want to do. And I do remember about 4.5 years ago when I first got started and I made the decision to actually do this, I started to think on a regular basis that I was going to do this. I was going to do this, and I put it in my subconscious. And the way I did that is I kept on thinking about it. I purposely made a decision to think about what I wanted to do, and it became part of who I was. I started talking about it to my friends. I wasn't trying to recruit anybody. I wasn't trying to get anybody into buying my products. What I was doing is I was telling people that I was getting involved with an online business, and that was the turn that I was going to take. And I made it part of my conversation. I made it part of my thoughts. I was dreaming about it. I would write down these things whenever I got inspired. I had a mentor that I would listen to on a regular basis, and that started to seep in my subconscious, to the point where I started to take regular action. And one of the key phrases that I use on a regular basis, and everybody knows the phrase I use, is keep on keeping on. It's one of my, I said this right from the beginning. I remember saying it to Ryan, my original mentor, and I said to him, I got to keep on keeping on. And I made it part of my conversation. I put it in my emails. I still put it in my emails. I put it in my videos. I put it everywhere I go. And there are studies that show that even if you are not fully convinced of something in your own mind, if you keep saying it to yourself, your subconscious is going to slowly help you start to find ways to accomplish what you want to. And that's a very, very important lesson that you can take on. I do remember years ago when I went to the UK. Now, one of the things, if you know me quite well, is I don't like to read that often. The way that I learn is through video. That's how I learn. But when I was in the UK, reading was certainly not part of something I did. But one of the jobs I got in the UK was I started to be a security officer. I was in security, and I had these 12-hour shifts where every 2 hours I would move to a post and move to another post. So I had a 2-hour break. I had a 2 hours sitting at reception. I had 2-hour patrol. I had 2 hours doing something else, but we would rotate on these shifts. And because I had so much free time on my hands, I had no choice. I couldn't bring anything to watch, so I had to bring a book. And I started to read these biographies. So when I read so many biographies when I was over there. And you might be thinking, well, Dave, you had a lot of time, and that's why you could do that. But here's the interesting part, that when I went home, there wasn't much time for me to get home, eat something, shower, and go to sleep. But I made time even then to read. And my point to you is that everybody can make time. Doesn't matter who you are. Time is actually very relative. And I've told everybody this time and time again, that if you break down your week into hours, even 30 minutes, even to 10 minutes, if you want to be really crazy, and you mark down exactly how much time you spend on the things that what you do throughout the entire week, and you take a look at what you've done, you will find huge chunks of time that you can actually spend on your business. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So with that being said, we have actually gathered some questions of people that have asked us on the panel throughout our years being online that we could perhaps answer for you, but we would very much like you to ask some questions in the panel so we can address you directly. All right. Remember, this is the best time that you can actually use, because you're interacting with us real time. And if you're watching the recording, obviously you want to get you when we're online. So I don't know if there are any questions, Katie, that anybody's asked.
Yeah, there's a question that Maria asked, and I think Pops would be the best person to answer that question.
Yeah, Maria, I guess it depends on your tax and government structure where you're at.
What's the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. The question is, when is it an appropriate time to register her business? And so that would be with the government. And it depends on your tax structure. Here in the U.S., it's beneficial to register as soon as you can, and you can start writing off. Well, here we can write off a portion of our domain, our home, as an office space. We can write off our phones and mileage and other things, meals. When over the weekend, we were able to write off. Actually, the training we went to, it was well over $1,000 to go to the GoPro, and I can write that off because it's training for my business for tax purposes. So if I don't know about the way your tax structure is set up, you might want to look into that. Name your business. You could name it You, or You Inc., like they say, but mine is Diversified Products and Services, and I have had it since the 80s because I do various things with products and services. But and I'm not an authority on even here, but the one thing I can tell you that I have never been audited, and I've been writing off my entire cell phone since I got my domain and since I registered, and among other things. And so you can look up online in your government area and see what is permissible and what you should. But again, I registered right away because of the benefits, and you'll have to look and see if there is a benefit, and there probably is. Most governments are trying to structure after America's set up, so that that would be my advice, is to look it up and do some Google search on your area and see what's going on with that. I'm sure somebody's posted something. Everybody likes to talk about what they're doing. So that's it in a nutshell, Maria.
Yeah, that's definitely it's something that I was definitely thinking about as well, is that it does vary from country to country. I mean, we can't actually give you a specific time, but as Pop says, getting benefits of your business is something that you definitely want to take advantage of if you can. For me, it's also quite difficult because it's hard to define what I do for the government. If I explain what I do, I've got to actually put it in such a way that they understand what I do, because my income is earned overseas. So that's also a bit of, but we have a different structure over here. But you definitely want to take full advantage of that as soon as you can. Are there any other questions? And we're asking, yeah?
One really good question here that Maria was asking. I really do like this question. And she asked, can you still succeed if you don't go to live events like company events, or like any your MLM company, if you have a MLM company that does company events? Can you still succeed? I told her, yes, you can. However, it's helped to go to them and build rapport with people and meet with people, because there's something about events, in my experience, where that you just I don't know, there's something that happens, you know. It doesn't always have to be like a monetary gain, like you're gonna grow, like it usually does happen anyways. When you go to events and you just like you grow in your business financially, not sure how much, you know, just by going to events, but connecting with the people, because when you keep connecting with people, that'll keep meeting other people and keep meeting other people. You know what I mean? Like what do you call that? Like
network marketing.
Well, no, you're funny. Like the degree, like the second degree or sixth degree, like the person of the sixth degree or something. So it's a chain reaction. Like if I never have met and reached out Pat Patterson, I would never have met Dave at all. So it's and then we met at an event, which made it just that much better. You know what I mean? So I think it's better just to go. Can you succeed without going to events? Well, sure you can. Yes, you can. I think it's just better if you do go to events, so you can grow even faster, is what I'd like to say.
Yeah, if I can, I'll answer that question, because for the good part of my online experience, I could not go to any events. I was excluded in that sense. But what I will say is you have to make do with the resources you have. All right. And if you've just joined us now on the Hangout, and I see that David Roden is here. Welcome, David. We're answering questions you may have. So if you've got a question you'd like to ask us, put it in the comments and we'll get to you as soon as we can. But the way that I would answer that question is, first of all, absolutely you can make it. But if you're not going to go to the events, the one thing you absolutely need to do is you need to network with as many people as you possibly can. And by that, I mean you've got to make friends with people. So you've got to have real conversations with people. So I'll tell you how I got connected with Pat. Now, remember, I've met Pat, but I actually became really good friends with Pat way before I went to an event to meet him. And the way I did was, the way I met him is that I became really good friends with Johnny Sherwood. Johnny and I were talking on a regular basis. We got to interacting and talking, and he actually ended up going to one of the events. And I remember watching Pat on stage because I was logged into the online. I was watching it online, and I was watching Pat, and I got really, really inspired by what he had to say. And what had happened was that I got into I think it was a Skype call or something on his phone, and we were talking. And as he was talking, he said to me, "Hey, Dave, would you like to meet Pat?" Because Pat smoked, and I smoked back then. And I said, "Sure, I'd love to." So we go into the smokers lounge, and there's Pat standing. And Johnny says, "Hey, Pat, you want to meet Dave? He's from South Africa." So Pat, being the smart ass as he is, he says, "You can only get in here with a cigarette." So I actually showed my cigarette. And I said, hey, Pat, how you doing? And we got to talking a little bit, and I said, I definitely want to meet up with you online. And that was it. You know, the rest is history. I got in contact with Pat, and we became really good friends. And I met all of these wonderful people online. And with Kat and Katie, Pops, Jamie, all of these people, because of that one occurrence. And I will say it's because I couldn't take advantage of going to an actual event. So I took advantage of networking with as many people as possible, becoming friends. And this is why you need to be able to network with people. And Diane Hockman says always that you need to be connecting with 5 to 10 new people a day and increasing your network. And not trying to pitch them just to say, hi, how you doing? I know we're in the same industry. Maybe we can exchange ideas. Without pitching anything. And I know it's hard to do that, but that is how I got in contact with people. So if you can't take advantage of going to the events, you absolutely can become successful, because I did. I left my job. I work online full-time now, and I never got to an event. When I got to an event, it was only after the fact. So don't let that stop you. All right? You cannot, there are so many roadblocks that we put inside our head. Like, we get online and we think, well, gee, I can't really go to the events, so I'll never make it. I just never stopped. I just carried on working until I actually got a result. And there's so many obstacles. I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too inexperienced, I don't know how to work a computer, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. And we come up with all these excuses because at the end of the day, we have a default bias towards negativity because of our environment. And this is why it is so important to surround yourself with people who are in the same niche as you, because those are the people that you listen to, that inspire you, that get you going, that encourage you. This is why I'm in the position I am, because I surrounded myself with a huge community. And that's one of the 5 pillars of being successful. And the 4th one is community. You absolutely have to be in a community. All right. If you can't go to an event, and let me say that going to an event is an amazing experience. If you can get to an event, it certainly is going to help you, because you can take pictures with people, you can make interviews with people, you can get things you can't get if you're just sitting this side of the equation. But that didn't stop me. I just carried on doing what I needed to do. And
I can expand on that a little bit, Dave.
Sure.
Again, if you can't go to events in person, you can certainly, hopefully, if they have it live stream, like Dave was talking about. He joined us in a live stream once, and that was cool. And you can benefit from that, and you can get onto your team, your primary business. They have online trainings all the time, and if they have a chat, you can write names down of people that are in the chat. And if you can't be quick enough to communicate with them, but write their names down, and then go back and try to hook up with them on Facebook. And then you can start connecting with them on Facebook, and that's in your primary business or in your niche. And you'll be connected with like-minded people in what you're trying to accomplish in that area. And that's another strategy that you can use to stay pumped and stay connected. And again, going to the events is super. Online is probably the next, and then doing the training on your primary business training, a live training, and get the names and hook with them outside of that on Facebook or however you can hook up with them and stay connected.
Absolutely. And to answer, Robert had a question, and that was, what are the best ways to turn YouTube subscribers into leads for your network marketing education? I'll tell you that what you can do is something I like to call an emergency video. All right. And this is how it works. So we all know that YouTube is very, very they're putting a lot of rules and restriction on their videos. All right, for some reason, people are getting flagged that your video doesn't need to get flagged for some stupid reason. And one of the things you can do inside your video, actually, you can do two things. At the beginning or end of the video, you can actually tell people physically to go ahead and to find your blog and to subscribe to your newsletter by just simply clicking the link in the description. You can actually tell them that. Or what you can do is you can actually have, because when you make your videos, there are ways that you can actually have videos inside your video at the end as a recommended video to watch afterwards. And you can say, watch this video. And as they click on that video, you can actually tell them of a way that they can keep in contact with you by going to your blog at whatever it is. Mine's daveranicker.com. And on the right-hand side, just subscribe to my newsletter. That way you can keep you up to date, because YouTube are not always going to alert your subscribers, because you have to click on the bell and then click on it again. Click on subscribe and click on the bell in order for you to get notifications. So you can actually tell people that in the actual video, and that way you can actually grab the subscribers and put them into a leads, your leads list, so that you can connect with them on a regular basis. Is that helpful? Does that help you, Robert?
Maria has another question if whenever you're ready, unless someone wants to touch on the YouTube thing.
No, go for it.
This is a really great question. I love. She's on my phone, so I'm helping her out here. She's with her kids right now. So she says, "What is the best way to share your online opportunity offline?" She says, "Do you make business cards with QR codes, and what site should you send them to?" So I'm really eager to see what everybody can share about that.
Well, I can say something. There are a few ways, and one of the ways that we actually talk about on Wednesday Word is the little Go units that you can actually buy. The little Go units you purchase have a way for you to actually put your information on, and if anybody within a radius of 100 yards are with you, they will get your information like a business card on there. So if you are talking to somebody, all right, let's say you're talking to somebody and they want to know what you do for a living, say, hey, my business card is probably on your phone right now, and you can actually connect with that. So those Go units are great for that. But I'm not able to get Go units in my country, so I'll tell you what I do. All right. When I am out and about with people, interacting with them, especially with guys, for some reason, the ultimate question a guy will always ask you is, what do you do for a living? That is the number one question a guy will always ask another guy. What do you do for a living? You can tell them in the form of a funny answer. All right. If you can come up with a funny answer, it will get more intrigue into what you have to do. So my go-to answer is, I teach Americans to make money online, which is a little bit strange, seeing as I'm in South Africa and I'm teaching people who live in first world countries how to actually make a living online. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit weird. And if you can come up with a funny answer, you will create intrigue, and they'll want to know more, and can say, if you want to know more, go to my website or have a little business card ready. You know, or you can get something called a QR code. And a QR code is a little code that you can actually have on your phone, where you can actually say, just take a picture of this QR code, and they'll get all your information straight away onto the phone. Does that help? Does anybody else want to answer that question in a different way, perhaps?
Yes, I do, actually, if that's okay with everybody else. I'm going to share with you what I was taught by this guy. I don't know if you know who, oops, I'm stuck, plugged in. This guy here, you can see who that is. His name is Jordan Alder, or Alder. Alder, is it Alder? Okay. So he, just a backstory real quick, is that he didn't get his first sale for 11 years, until 11 years later. He was working the business, and he could not figure it out, or at least couldn't do it or something. So 11 years. Here's a strategy that he does about business cards and meetups and live networking meetups. So it's an event where people are specifically going to come together in a meetup time and place or whatever. You can find them online, which is, what is it called? It's just a network marketing meetup, right? I think it's meetup.com or something like that, I believe. So anyways, you can find out locations, and specifically what it's for is you meet people and you exchange business cards. That's the whole purpose of it, right? So you can go there. However, this is his strategy, and he says it works every single time. When you go there, your purpose is to collect the business cards, not to see how many you can hand out, because everybody's doing that. You build rapport with people, you connect with people, you grab their business card. If they ask you, you give it to them, but you don't walk around with your business card. But you collect business cards, and then here's the secret. You follow up with them later, and you set up a separate group on the side saying, hey, I have this this group that I have, this association where we have a group of people that come together. We have all sorts of different businesses, like say we have a brick and mortar business here that does, you know, jewelry, or we have someone over here that builds homes or does real estate. What they do is specifically is they kind of got each other's back, where they're saying, hey, if you know someone who wants to buy a house, here is like, just in this group, not the network marketing meetup, but in this specific secret group, right? Is that you go, hey, let's all have each other's back. And if someone needs a house, or if someone wants some jewelry, they start handing and giving referrals out. Okay, that's the way to do it. I just absolutely love that idea. I have not implemented it yet. So he got his fame from that, and his whole purpose is to meet as many people as you can, because those people win. So he just helps everybody out. So I just wanted to share that, because I
love that answer. I love that answer, and I think it's really great. And you know, we actually have that here, where businesses meet up and they exchange ideas. But we got to pay a monthly fee to be a part of that. But there are other, I'm sure, groups that you could actually make, especially where you live. And that's an amazing idea, getting the actual information. Because if you get the business card information, you can actually set up a way where you can actually send them an email, send up all your details, and then create a group, like a Facebook group, where you can actually add people there, and everybody's got their back. I love that idea. That's amazing. And,
yeah, it's pretty top notch, like next level.
Yeah.
Don't do that when you're brand new, because or at least he suggests don't do that when you're brand new, because you're just getting started and you're still trying to figure this out. So at least try to figure it out, and so you're comfortable with it, and get people's business card, and just do it that way.
Yeah, you can start by collecting the information and sending out an email. You don't have to go all the way, but isn't that a testament to 11 years working on a business until you get your first sale? I mean, that is amazing. That's almost as good as Lisa Torres, 17 years or something. She made like $23 or something, and you know, but it's just a case of hanging around the right type of people. A lot of people don't get that. They don't get that. That was one of my biggest mistakes, not being around the right type of people. I failed miserably for 7 years because I was too stubborn to admit that I actually needed to be a part of something. I wasn't in a community. I wasn't interacting. I wasn't, you know, and we have this amazing community in our workshop where to qualify, you need to make a video yourself to get yourself in that community, so that you can, you know, you get into the group, you upload your own video. And the reason you upload your own video is because we want to encourage people to take action and to work on it yourself. All right. We're not doing this to be horrible or stubborn, but at the end of the day, you will thank us because you put in the work yourself. All right. It's no good having somebody else do it for you. And I keep referring back to that one guy I helped year after year after year, or that I kept on helping and kept on helping and kept on helping, to the point where I didn't see him for a year. I come back and he's still battling with the same thing because he hasn't taken the time to learn his own computer. I mean, you need to develop time in your business. And there's nothing like sitting down and actually learning something new that makes sense logically to yourself, and actually go ahead and implementing it yourself. Because that's what running your own business is all about. It's about having a product, learning how to, it's about making connections with people ultimately, and providing solutions in the form of a product which you can sell and make some money off of that. But it needs to be in the spirit of helping as many people as possible. It can't be in the spirit of just focusing on the product and say, I just want to sell this product. Become the support for the rest of the world. So
in that offline world, Jordan also talked about, when he was at grocery stores or wherever, he'd just in line to check out and he'd start talking to people and connecting with people in the community. And he would ask them, hey, what do you do? And stuff like that. And then he'd get their card. And because he connected with so many people in the community, which offline, if you want to work offline, that's what you need to do. And so someone that he would be talking to say, hell, I'm doing this with my house, or I need to paint. I got to find a painter. The last one I had was crappy. And he said, well, hey, I know a painter. Even somebody in the meetup.com or somebody he had met, he'd turn him on, to that painter and said, make sure that you tell him that I referred you. And then in doing that, this guy the painter then would maybe find someone that's looking for extra income, because he would tell eventually what he was doing. The painter would send somebody to him. And that's how he built his business offline. But that's just all the connections that you can make no matter where you go. People like to talk about themselves, right? We all know that. And they love to give their card out. And you can do so much with that when you talk to enough people and just exchange. You can be the middle guy. That's basically what he said. I was the middleman. I was hooking people up with other people to get stuff accomplished, and then they would send people to me out of gratitude. And he's on stage now. So,
Jamie, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell everybody what I do in offline. Since I run a computer repair business, I have a lot of offline interaction with people. So what I do, every person I fix their computer, when I give them their computer back, I give them an invoice, which has the name of my company and my website address at the top. And then at the bottom, it has my address, my email, my phone number, all that good stuff. And I give them 2 business cards too, and say, if you know somebody needs a computer repaired, give them my business card. And when I get a new person that calls me and asks me to fix their computer, I said, well, how did you find me? And it's either on Facebook. They search me on Google, because it's registered on Google. If you type in computer repair in Rushville, Illinois, it comes up. Or somebody gave them one of my business cards. So that's how I get all the repeat business and stuff I do, because I hand out my business cards to them and I give them an invoice, and they remember that invoice. They remember the Shaw, it used to be JB Computer Repair, but I'm changing over to Shaw Consulting Services now. So, but people still remember that. They remember the name and the work that was done to it. And I have right at the very top, the name of the company and everything. And then down at the very bottom, when you look at how much they owe me, it shows my address and everything right below it. So, I always put thank you for your service, and I always make sure, or thank you for your service. Thank you for your business, or I would tell everybody thank you, for referring somebody else, or and I've even given them, $10 discount for referring somebody. So it's just, a lot of it's just word of mouth, and circulating my invoices to them and my business cards, so they get traveled around. And once they learn the kind of work I do, and my wife takes them too when she goes to work. So all those people work all over the place where she works at. They come from out of town and stuff. So word gets around. I've had people call me from way out of town too. And so it's not just about handing out your business card to everybody. It's about doing the quality of service to get back to back to you and doing a good job and doing extra or excellent customer service with the people that come to you as well.
Awesome.
It's definitely if you can learn the art of communication when you're talking to people, and if you just use little phrases that we often say and take for granted. So one of the phrases that I often hear, and I often do myself, and I don't know if this is true for anybody who lives in the States, but sometimes when I'm talking to someone, I'm at the till, I'll say this, I'll make this statement. I'll say, money goes in, money goes out. Money goes in, money goes out. It's just amazing how this always happens, and you got to wait for payday. And they say, and they agree with you. They completely identify with what you're saying, and that way that's a lead in. You can use it as a lead in. The other thing you can do with people is what I'll often do, and maybe it's a bit cheeky, but I'll say to somebody, "How many hours do you do this? Like, how long do you stand behind this counter?" And they'll tell me 8, 9 hours, and I said, "I could never do what you do, man. I really admire that. I don't know how you do it. I am so glad I don't do this anymore. Well, I'm so glad that this is something I don't do." And they go, "What do you mean?" So, well, I work from home now, so I'm not. Well, I'm in the process of moving from working from a full-time job to working from home, because honestly, the commute kills me and everything. I'm saying, "What is it you do?" And then you come up with your funny phrase, and they go, "Really? Can you give me some?" And then give me some information. Say, "I'll tell you what, why don't you give me your information? Give me a card. And that way I can keep you on my books and I can refer you to other people. And I'll send you some information." And in that way, you can actually start creating a network. So if you can just think of little phrases, maybe somebody can think of a phrase now in the comments that people say to them on a daily basis, like money comes in, money goes out, or the last day of the month. It just seems everybody's got their paycheck and now they want to spend it all at the end of the month. And you can come up with things where now I have to wait until payday or something. Become creative with that type of thing.
Mom always said money doesn't grow on trees. I want to add something, Dave. What you said about communication, that is probably the key to everything in my computer repair business, because when somebody comes and picks up their computer, I show them what I did to it, and then show if I added any software like Malwarebytes or something like that. I show them how to use it, and then they'll start asking me questions instead of them showing up and say, here's your computer, you owe me $100. I sit and have a conversation with them, and then they start asking me questions. So if they get home and they'll forget to ask me something, so they'll call me as soon as they get home and say, "Hey, I forgot to ask you this," and I answer them and keep the communication flowing with them. And that's how I get repeat customers back. So
it's very, very, it definitely does help you. And I'll tell you something else I just learned. I share this with Katie, and this is something I shared this with Katie early. And when you're talking with people and people want to know how's your day going, don't say fine. Don't say okay. Don't say, oh, well, same old, or don't say the regular stuff. Be completely different. And the way that you can be completely different is to speak in pictures. All right. So if somebody says to me, "How was your day today?" and say, "Well, I sat down on my desk and I was working on my computer for about 2 hours today. I'm sending out my emails for my business. And so I've got some time off for the rest of the day because I've already finished my work." And you already told them that you work 2 hours a day. You've already told them that you work 2 hours a day in your business. And then you carry on with the conversation. Speak in pictures. If somebody asks you how your day is, don't say it's okay, it's fine, or it's just the regular stuff. Say to them, "You know what? I stepped outside of my house and the sun was shining brightly, really, really hard, and I was just enjoying the sun." You can give them an actual picture about how your day was. The reason you want to do that is because it gives people a really good visual first impression of you, and first impressions do last, which means next time they see you, they'll want to talk to you again instead of having the regular, "Oh, my day was just fine." Can you think of people right now where if you ask them how their day was, you can already tell what they're going to say to you? Can you think of somebody like that? I can think of plenty. I used to know somebody, if I asked him how his day was, he always said the same thing. Same old, same old. Every single time. Same old, same old. So what made me go towards him again? It was nothing really kept me wanting to go there again. But it's amazing how many people that give you an incredible answer, you are attracted to them again because you want to hear what they have to say. So that's a bit of advice that you can use inside of your business. Speak in pictures so that people can visualize what you went through.
We have one more question.
Sure.
This is a really good one. Maria from the Netherlands is saying more people are turning to the internet all around the world. English isn't the first language of a lot of people. How can those people start an online business? Does YouTube and Google translate English into their language? And if someone only speaks Swahili, is she able to help him or her? Anybody want to take it out?
Actually, the internet does a fair job of translation because most languages have inflections that can never be put into a dictionary or anything like that, and mannerisms. You can use it to a certain degree, but I guess what I would suggest is if you're going to help somebody out and really want to help them out, you could have them find someone in their country that does speak your language as well and do a translation. And I had that happen with me from somebody who was a Hispanic guy who could speak fairly good English, but he couldn't write in English. And I found somebody down there in the company to help him with doing his blog and stuff. And that in itself speaks volumes of your service to other people, which will go a long way for you and the rest of your group. But again, the translation doesn't quite come out right. It's close, but not quite there. So you're better off doing what I just suggested in that regard.
And also think of the market that you are attracting, because so many people who are hard of hearing can't listen to videos. If you are hard of hearing yourself, or if you have a serious passion for helping people with a disability, you know, the one thing that I will say about entrepreneurs is that they never see a problem, they never see an obstacle in front of them and think, well, I can't get past this. They always think of a way. They always interpret it as a better opportunity for them to turn something that's stopping them into something that they can use for themselves. All right, it's I mean, if you really want to attract people who are hard of hearing, and if you want to work on writing out subtitles because you want to hone in on that market, I'm telling you now that you will have a lot of people gravitate towards you because you will be the person that helps in that area. All right, but I will say this, that and you can ask people like if you ask Dan Pena this question, his answer will be, I don't care. If you don't speak English, work it out for yourself. That's his straight answer. He will say, I don't care. You've got to learn English for yourself. And the reason he says that is because you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way. If you want to learn something, you absolutely need to. All right. We have somebody inside of My Lead System Pro who's from the Netherlands as well, Maria, and who hardly spoke any English very well. But she learned English to such an extent that she was called on, and you could just hear a bare minimum accent because she forced herself to learn the language. And ultimately, it comes down to the individual. If they want something bad enough, they will find a way. It's in all of our problems, right? I live in South Africa, a third world country with a lot of obstacles. And I could have said, there's no ways that I can actually make this work for myself. How can I make this work? I earn in rands. I don't earn in dollars. It's 1/10. It's 1/10 difference. It's ridiculous. How can I even go there? And I decided that I was going to make this work. And I worked 10 times harder than anybody else. And that's why I'm in the position I am today. All right. And, you know, the real irony is that people that actually do speak English really well, people that actually have an understanding of the English language and who do comprehend complicated functions in their own head and can do it, still don't do the work. And you'll find that there's a person who's got a very, very low IQ that doesn't really compute a lot of things, and they just outperform everybody else because they've got so much gusto, they got so much tenacity that they never give up. And that is the thing that outlasts everybody else. I promise you this, if you want something bad enough, you will find a way. If you want to create excuses for your life, if you want to say, well, you know, I'm too old, it's too late for me to get in, you're never going to get in. I mean, look at Joe McKenzie. Joe McKenzie's he's turning 80 soon. He's turning 80. And he is in this to win this. Joe has no giving up doesn't even enter his mind. He finds a way to make it work. So somebody who is for instance, who doesn't speak English very well, who has a speech impairment, you will find that they will find a way. We actually know of somebody, not personally, who had a spinal problem, who couldn't stand, stand up straight. She ran her business from her home, lying on her stomach, working on a computer, and earning over $25,000 a month because she never gave up. There are people that are paralyzed from the neck down and still make it work. There are 12-year-olds that have made this work. There is always somebody else that has a condition worse than yours that can make something work because they absolutely want to. And it's all in your head. It's all in your head. People say, what is it I need to start a business online? And I'll tell them straight. If you've got a computer, if you've got an internet connection, if you've got a bank account, if you've got access to PayPal, although I could already use PayPal for a long time. If you've got some programs on your PC and you got to get yourself a little camera, which doesn't cost a lot at all, and get yourself a tiny microphone, which doesn't cost a lot at all, you can make this work. You have all the tools. If I had to give you my computer and ship it to your house right now with all of my tools and all of my resources, do you think it would make a difference? With all of my training in there, would it make a difference? You might be saying, yes, it will. I'm telling you right now, no, it won't. It won't make a lick of difference in your life, even if you had all the resources in the world. In my 7 years of fading online, I could get hold of courses that cost thousands of dollars. I don't do that anymore, but I could get hold of courses that would blow people out the water. And even when I got the courses, I still never succeeded. Why? Because it was in my head. And the moment you get over yourself, the moment you start saying, you know what, I'm going to make this work, keep on keeping on. If you keep on with that mindset, you can absolutely do anything with your life. And it's only because of that I'm able to be in this country and not work a regular job and work online, because I just never gave up. So don't give up. Decide today that this is the day you're going to take action. Look, you know, if you haven't started right now, we've got a great system for you. Get started now below this video. Get into Mighty System Pro. Get started. Pay the $10 trial. Go through everything inside there, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Get started with your business and learn how to actually build something online instead of coming up with many excuses. Go with one way and just keep working at it. So that's what I have to say along that. Sorry for the rant, but we are at the top of the hour. we're at the top of the hour. Okay, so we want to say thank you so much for being here. Let's go to Pops. Maybe he's got some final words you want to share with us.
You know, just take heed to what Dave was saying right now, because it's doable, totally doable, with minimal effort, and you don't have to have fancy stuff, and you can make it. Just have the heart, have the desire, and you'll find people that are willing to follow you, especially if you're working harder and with less stuff and seeing that you're doing it, and they're going to go, wow, if you can do it, I can do it. Have a great week. See you next week. Hope you can make it. And those of you who are in our Saturday group, see you then. See you.
Jamie?
Yeah, I agree with what Dave Bob's saying. Dave, can you repeat that whole rant? I missed part of it. I'm just kidding. I love to hear you rant, because, you know, a lot of the stuff you say is so true, and what a lot of people focus on, instead of focusing on I can't do it, is focus on the consistency of doing something. That's why we tell you to master one system and do it consistently until you have results. You know, because the consistency is the secret everybody's looking for. And I can tell you, when I don't take consistent action, I don't get results. When I consistently make videos, consistently write blog posts, I get leads. And occasionally I get sales. But I'm not out trying to just sell everything I've got. I mean, I want to build a relationship. But the consistency is the secret you're looking for. And it doesn't matter what tools you have to be consistent and do something every day. Create a video, create a blog post, whatever it is.
Katie?
Yes. I'm just kidding. Okay. I just wanted to remind everybody that we will not have Wisdom Wednesday this Wednesday. And Jamie, I'm pretty sure, is not going to have his hangout. It's going to be Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to wish everybody, for those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving, have a great time with your family. Remember, you don't have to just have one day to remember what you're thankful for. Just do that every single day and your life will change. So just be thankful for a lot of things every single day and be grateful. So with that, that's it.
And I will say that I think what we'll do is we'll continue this for next week as well with some questions, because we had some questions that we never got to as well. So we will continue with this Q&A session for next week as well. So remember, maybe this is giving you some ideas, or maybe you never got a chance to ask your questions, or you're thinking of them. And also do yourself a favor. Go ahead and take this link and share it with as many people as possible. All right? Because and especially if you're inside of My Lead System Pro, that way if somebody does decide to join, you can get credit for it as well. But share it with as many people as possible. Give something to somebody else and say, here's some real answers that you can check out from people who are actually getting results online, and maybe answer your questions. So do yourself a favor and start taking massive action. All right, with that being said, we will see you same time next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as remember, Katie said, no Wisdom Wednesday and no Thriving Thursday. We will see you next week. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.